All right, you guys. So I'm hitting record here. This is our Tuesday Mastermind group that we're doing on Thursday. And we are fortunate enough to have Val Bozzo with us. And Val is a coach that I've worked with now for a while. And she is having just an excellent year. And one thing that I love about what she's doing is she's being very consistent in just doing the basics. And I asked her if she would come on and talk to you guys a little bit about that, and then give you the ability to ask her questions. So I am not going to take a lot of your time here because we're going to make, since we're recording this, we'll keep it nice and concise. And so Val, thank you first of all for being on. And if you would just start out, maybe just telling these guys a little bit about yourself, and then like what has been the key for you in maintaining such a strong, steady, consistent business in 2017, despite some of the headwinds that we feel like we've dealt with. None of those have really impacted you. Your SC is strong, your income's been strong, your volume's been strong, and I'm just excited for you to share that a little bit with the group. So take it away.
Sure. All right, guys. Hey, I'm appreciative of you having me on, Craig. This is great. So those of you who might not know me, Craig said my name is Val Bozzo. I've actually been a coach here for 4 years. I am a mom to 2 little girls with a third on the way any week now. And my husband, he was actually in the military for 13 years, and Beachbody was able to give us the opportunity to retire him last year early, so we didn't have to do deployments anymore, and all of that military full-time life. So I've just really always looked at this business as the business. I came into it for the coaching opportunity. I had done P90X 10 years ago after I had my first daughter. And it's just kind of that funny story that we all have. My husband saw P90X on an infomercial when our daughter was, I think, 3 weeks old or something. And he's like, we should get this. And I'm like, you just saw that on an infomercial. We don't have money. Like, we just had a baby. You're not going to order a $100 workout program, go to the gym. Like, that was what I said. Well, it ended up that P90X showed up on our doorstep literally like a week later because he called his mom and he was like, Mom, you could get this for me for Father's Day. And, long story short, he's like, you should do this with me. So we did. We do it at night after we put our daughter to bed. And man, that program, like, it made me fall in love with the home workout system. Ultimately, it was kick butt. I got results, and I just became a Beachbody lover. But I never knew anything about the coaching opportunity until 4 years ago, which is crazy. I had ordered Insanity and Turbo Fire and pretty much every program since then, but I feel like I was living under a rock, not knowing that there was a business opportunity behind it. So whenever it presented itself to me, my husband and I were $140,000 in non-mortgage debt. He was deploying all of the time. We had just moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Gulfport, Mississippi in a military transfer. So all those things that we could use as excuses, I decided to use them as my reasons to stop being the quitter that I always was. I had done other MLMs. 31 bags. I was going to sell Cutco. I sold Cutco knives in college. Like, I was going to make it big doing that. Mary Kay, like, you name it, guys. I had done like all the other stuff, but there was never a passion behind it, and people just knew that I would start and quit. So I was like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to commit to being consistent. I'm going to commit to finding the blessings in this whole thing, and there we go. Like, move forward. So that's ultimately what I have done for the last 4 years. And I will say this last year, I have been extremely consistent. And 2016, I think that we can all agree, was kind of like a shit show because I feel like we were all, not all, but a lot of us as coaches who maybe had that was my 2 to 3 year mark, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I can just focus solely on the business now, and maybe I can just keep doing this. I have my rock stars. They're not going anywhere. Lo and behold, they started to go places. So I realized I couldn't control anything but myself. So I came into 2017 with a new passion, let's say a relit passion, because I think too, a lot of us lost that original passion. And, my head might have started to get a little bit big because I was like, I got this. I can hit Success Club 10 easy now. You know, I can recruit easy now. Well, I didn't want it to just be that easy focus. So came into this year and I said, you know, I'm going to set new goals. I'm going to really focus on my challenge groups. I'm really going to present the business opportunity to everyone. And I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to let my foot off the gas. I'm going to help people. That was what it came down to. So that's what I've been doing. There's nothing secret that I have done except for change my entire mindset to being grateful for the opportunity to stop saying Beachbody isn't providing me with the volume. Beachbody's not, you know, not doing this or that. No, I'm my own business owner within Beachbody. So I just took responsibility for that. And by doing that, my business really has, you know, stayed really consistent. I have not lost income at all. And I just help my team and I work with those who want to excel and move forward. And I just try to let everybody know, hey, if you're joining my team, here's the group of coaches that I work with. It's people who are committed to hitting Success Club. It's people who are committed to spending that 1 hour a day. But if you still want to be part of my team, that's great. Just let me know where you need that support offered. You know, you're always be supported if you need a challenge group or, you know, just some wind in your sails once in a while. But when you see me working closely with these people, here are my expectations. So as soon as I laid out the expectations and I stopped worrying about hurting people's feelings, my whole game changed. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much been it for me. And I present the business to everyone. Everyone. There's not a time that I don't say, hey, I think that you'd make a great coach because I think that anyone can be a great coach if you decide that you want to change your mindset and work towards it. Because 4 years ago, the person that invited me, she's no longer in the business, but I was the last person qualified to be a Beachbody coach. Like I was just down in the dumps and ridiculous, but look how it's changed my life. So I just have that full belief that this is the system that will work for people if we just work it and we make it a priority for our teams to see us leading by example, right?
Awesome. So Val, I love it. Again, you know how much I appreciate your mindset. I appreciate the positivity that you always bring to this. And I think that positive mindset and that idea that, hey, I'm going to push everything out aside. I'm going to focus on what I can control and do it with gratitude and do it with positivity. I've just, you know, that attitude, I think, carries you forward in such a great way. I think it's good for all of us to remember. You talked about the system. So when I asked you, you know, okay, so what is the system that you follow? You gave me some bullet points. And again, nothing mind-blowing, but I think that's what's so magical about it, is that it was nothing mind-blowing. Talk to the group here about what your week looks like literally, like, you know, again, how you're using Facebook, how you're adding to your network, how you go about seeing who connects with you, and then what you say to them. And again, with that, maybe a little bit of that emphasis on how you have kept the coaching opportunity at the forefront of your inviting process. Because I think that's a critical piece here that maybe we veered away from a little bit. You know, last year we got really businessy, and then we really put an emphasis on customers, and we needed to kind of land somewhere in the middle, which I think is what you've done, which has kept, again, I feel like good momentum in your business. So talk about that.
I think that too. So my week is so simple. My business is so simple, and I literally use like this little notebook to like keep track of everything. I'm just that's me, and it works for me. But so I get most of my business still from my Facebook personal page. Like that is my bread and butter of business. So Mondays, typically it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and like Thursdays or Fridays. I send my invites. And I get the people that I invite, ultimately, most of the time, still by the people who like or comment on my Facebook posts. And I had noticed, you know, over the last year, we'll say Facebook algorithms, they've completely changed. In 2016, I was getting myself all caught up in, oh, well, people just aren't liking my stuff anymore, all that. No, it was my content. It was dry, and I was not putting my full effort into it. So this year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to change my filters. I'm going to really find what my avatar wants me to talk about. And I'm going to put that out there. I focus on my brand and speaking to that one person. And as soon as I do that every single time, my traction, it's good. And I typically have new people liking or commenting on my posts every time that I post something. So I make a list in my notebook of, I don't know, usually like anywhere from 10 to 30 people. So those are my invites that I send, every other day or every third day. And then I spend the rest of my time kind of following up on Tuesdays, Fridays, the off days. So that's my simple inviting system. I'm not inviting 3 to 5 people a day. I'm just kind of doing it in spurts. But I will say whenever I revamped my social media, because I'm sure like you guys, we do Facebook, kind of the same post on Facebook and then the same picture on Instagram or here or there. I just kind of do the same content in different social media, platforms. So that's just what I've been doing. And whenever I send my invite, y'all, it is literally, all that I say is, hey, thanks for the love on my post. I really appreciate it. Have you ever considered doing what I do? That's my invite, because then if they respond, it's typically, yes, I really need to lose weight. I've watched you. I don't know if I could ever do what you do. So I feel like it's kind of that open avenue to, hey, okay, are they going to respond more with the fitnessy part? Are they going to respond more like, I would love to be able to stay at home with my kids like you do? So I feel like once I tweak that invite, my response rate is a lot higher, because I'm not like, hey, I'm starting a challenge group in 2 weeks where we're going to focus on this, this, and this. That's so salesy, and people are just almost expecting it now, that whenever I switch that, I get a ton of responses, and people actually do comment back to me. So that's what I do. And then most of the time they, from that message, I can decipher if they want to talk more about business or the fitness part of it. And then if it is just fitness, then I get them enrolled in my challenge group or whatever. And then around week 2 or 3 is whenever I always bring up the business. I'm like, hey, you've been so consistent, or you'd be really great as a coach. It's just an extension of our challenge group. Here's what we do as a coach. And then I tell them why I think they'd be great. And that's it. That's it. So
I love that. What do you send them to, like, when you talk to your challengers about converting, do you send them a link or anything to look at?
Yeah, thanks for that. So then my next step then of that system, I have a team-wide glimpse, coaching glimpse group that is so simple. I just have a few of my personally sponsored coaches that'll go in there once or twice a month. We'll pick a day to have our glimpse group day, and they'll just go in and share their story for 3 to 4 minutes. And it's really the story that kind of captivates, because mostly all of them started off with their results or as a challenger. So they share that. And then I have a little photo album section of 5 pictures, what is coaching, myths debunked, and then I just kind of explain it. So I just say, hey, can I add you to this glimpse group that'll just explain everything, and you can hear some stories from my coaches who were once probably feeling like you feel. And they're like, yeah, sure. And that's the closing of the sale most of the time. Everyone that comes back, they're like, of course there's some who are like, no, this isn't for me. I'm like, okay, thanks for your time. But then the ones who do, they're like, okay, I'm totally inspired. I want to get started. So that's my system. And then of course I follow up in that group often. So that's how I do it. And then I typically, my recruiting goal is 10 to 15 a month. I definitely don't always hit that, but I set my recruiting goal. That's a little out of my comfort zone, right? I don't particularly want to be someone who recruits 20 coaches plus a month. I just don't. I feel like I work my best with anywhere between 5 to 10 each month. So, I typically do hit the 10 number, and that's just from this system. That's it.
I love that. I'm the same way. I feel like I have high numbers, and this month I've had high, I'm hitting those higher numbers, and I'm like, wait, no, I like keeping them a little smaller because I feel a little stretched thin. I feel like I'm missing things with people, and it feels bumpier. But anyway, I had another question, and what do you do? What's your approach with straight up business coaches?
So I always tell them, no matter what, they're going to go into my challenge group anyway, since that's the bread and butter of our business. And I tell them, I'm like, that's how I came in. I had never done a challenge group. I was just somebody who ordered all the programs off the infomercials. So I never knew that there was coaches. So they can relate to me whenever they're like, well, I really want to, leave my job, or I really need an extra few $100s a month to pay my car note. I'm like, perfect. This will be great for you. I'm going to teach you how to invite some of your friends to our first challenge group that you're going to be a part of. And I really just walk them through. So I know Coach Basics and stuff too. Like, people just kind of fall off in mine. I don't know if you guys can relate. I'm like, I'll start a group and then no one participates ultimately. And then the few that do, they get deflated because they're like, well, why am I the only one who's participating? Mm-hmm. So I revamped it to where all that I do is send them a document that I put together. It's like 3 pages of post examples. Here's what you do in your first month as a coach. You're really working on your own transformation. We're going to, get you posting more consistently on social media, and then talking about the 4 vital behaviors. And then I've been putting them into a group thread. So like I have August coaches. So anybody who signs up in August, I'm adding them, and I'm finding that's working. It's working right now for me. I can kind of really put my attention in there with them. And say somebody signs up on the 1st, and then another person is signing up on like the 18th. I don't feel like no one's waiting. I'm adding them in. I'm introducing, like, hey, can you guys really welcome so-and-so? Most of you started a couple weeks ago, so maybe you can make her feel more at home. Give her some of your best tips that you have so far. And they really just kind of like take hold with each other. So that's been working really well.
That's awesome. I actually do the same thing with the chat threads, because I had the same issue as you do with the new coach training or the Coach Basics. And, people weren't participating, so I was like, okay, I got to change things. And the chat threads work amazing. Even if we do like a push to Emerald or something, we do it in a chat thread. I feel like it's just way more engagement.
And like,
so do you go like do little videos in your chat thread? Because I know I'll kind of guide them through, like, here's what a grand opening post looks like, and I'll just kind of share things like that step by step during that month that they sign up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do the same thing. And I use a lot of the voice texting because
yes, me too. I love that.
Personal, and I feel like some coaches want to get on the phone, some don't. I personally don't love to be on the phone, so I'm not one who's like, hey, let's have a one-on-one. Like, I don't bug them. And I tell them in that first initial document, I'm like, once you've done this, 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 and this, it's like, the simple business kind of startup stuff. Like, if you want a one-on-one, I'll, here's a 15-minute time slot or something, shoot me over a message and we'll schedule. Yeah. Some do and some don't. So that's just what works. It works for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would encourage you, if you guys are just starting that, stick with it and like work out all the kinks. I've been doing that. I call them cohorts, because in grad school we were in a cohort. But so I've been doing it for 2 years. Like, I just hit my 2-year mark of like my first little pod, my first little cohort, and it has been. I don't do any coach training, period. Not at all. I've even pulled off my training off of my website, like at a self-placed email system. And not that I won't pull that back sometime soon, but I just really wanted people to focus on just actionable items as they're getting started. But I also take those cohorts, and they're who I run my challenge groups with in their first 2-3 months. Like, they're my co-leaders in my challenge group. And I set that expectation before they start with me. I tell them, like, you're going to be in my challenge group the first month. You're going to kind of be a challenger and understand what it's like if they weren't before. Cause I'd recruit a lot of business coaches, cause that was what I was too. So you'll be a challenger, and then the next month you'll help with jobs and co-lead. And then the next month you'll kind of take more of a point and then they together leave the nest, like on month 3 or 4, and they have each other to run groups with. So they never end up feeling like, when they leave the nest and they're like running a group and they can't fill it, or they fizzle out, or they'll do one. And then I was having coaches that would just stop running them because they stopped, inviting to them, or there are some would hustle and work hard to fill a group and others just wouldn't. So that way they have each other and they're pushing each other they're learning how to lead each other too, as they're kind of having to flesh that out. But Kristen, did you just say something? Generally I do, yeah. I kind of put that on my own shoulders of like my own responsibility for recruiting, that I recruit enough that I have a new group starting most month. I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's not like a start of August 1st, September 1st. It's kind of depends on, when I usually try to put at least 5 to 7 in one cohort. And then they're like cheering on each other for rank and success club. And, they're just they become a tight group. And then I was finding that it wasn't duplicating like I wanted it to. So I finally just recently like put a cap, because they wanted to stick with each other forever. And like they've been together for over a year. And I'm like, no, I think now it's like you can do this on your own. Like leave the nest. You're no longer running groups with your cohort. Like start running them with your downline and start duplicating this. I had to start being more intentional about forcing them to duplicate it, because they were so cozy in this little pod. But it's been a really fun thing. It helps team culture a lot too, and it's made it so that who's working, like period, because they're seeing each other show up.
How long are you running them for, Jamie? Or Val?
I work with them forever, so they just transition to like a different relationship with me. So at first it's kind of like I'm holding their hand, and then after usually around month 3, like we start transitioning them into running their own groups, and I'm more of just a support role for them, and I'll be a fly on the wall in their group. I'll help them navigate the bumps of like reverse engineering when you start posting your call to actions for your challenge group and getting the group set up or those organizational bits. And then as they're growing in rank and just their experience in the biz, I'll start kind of, because I try to do a cohort Zoom with them once a month at first, sometimes more frequently when they're brand new. And then as they grow on, maybe once every other month, but then we'll start talking about different things. So just the relationship shifts. So I kind of keep them going forever, because it's a great way for me to know, like if I've got something to say, I'll just post it and blast it in each cohort group message thread, not group. I'm there. It's all via Messenger, versus me writing every single person. And then I can and then some groups won't need a certain message. So it kind of keeps me tempered with where each pod is at too. I don't know if that helps your question, Chris.
That's pretty much what I do too, Jamie. And then maybe you do this too. I always it's like setting the expectations of, all right, you hit Success Club your first month, their first 30 days, I'm focused on them and their results and hitting Success Club. I'm like, that is your role as a coach in your first month. Then as soon as you hit that, we're going to work towards Emerald, because then Emerald should happen as soon as those initial, steps take place. So then I kind of watch and see. I was like, okay, how quickly are these coaches? Who are my runners who are going to be like, oh, Emerald's super easy, like I was. I was like, somebody told me to go Emerald. I did it in a day. So some of them do it, some of them don't. And then I talk to them. I'm like, okay, the next step in your rank advancement will be Diamond. And our goal is to achieve that within 60 to 90 days of the start of your business. So then I see, and I'm helping each one. So then I kind of transition them. I'll kind of start to pull the runners, our runners out, and I put them kind of in like another success pod cohort like you do. So that way the runners can kind of like stick together. And then the other ones are all still in the same group threads, but they're still doing kind of their own pace. So I tell them too, like that's been a huge thing too. Whenever I'm just like so open and honest, I'm like, everyone's goals in this business are different, and that's okay. But if you want to create the success that, I've created, or if you want that higher income, then here's what you have to do. So then I put them in like a pod where I'm more active with them too, and I really am more present. I will check in there twice a day, message them back in the mornings and then in the evenings, whereas the other ones I'm not so, responsive. That's just me.
Yeah, I think that too, when you see those because you've got a group of 5 to 7 new coaches, and 2 will maybe run with it and hit knock it out of the park. It motivates the other ones too, because like we do double and triple Emerald on my team, and like they'll just start pinging every week or every few weeks, and I've heard from like the gals that are a little slower, because we honor anyone's pace. Period. It's not a comparison thing, but they're like, I'm just so glad I have you guys to keep me going, and it inspires me. Like I'm still here, I'm still working hard, It's just going to take me a little longer, and it keeps everyone moving forward. But it also gives a sense of fire under the slower ones' booty, because they don't want to get left behind. They see these people that they know started at the same time as them, who just keep ratcheting it up, and it keeps them, I find, for the most part, it keeps them at least trying and at least setting goals versus kind of rolling over and giving up.
That's awesome.
Do you think you would be willing to screen share, Val, and show us just as what I'm a visual person, what your sneak peek group looks like?
Sure. Let me share it.
Oh, hey, Craig's back. Gotta stop talking about him.
Yeah, stop talking about me.
Can you see?
Yes, thank you. Oh, look at it.
I'll be back. Or I won't be back.
Hi.
All right, this is it, because we actually just had one too. So I run this with my team, and they just add people as they're talking to them, and then I keep the videos up. And I do this, I guess I do run it every other week is whenever I have it. So here's some of my coaches, and my key is I have my coaches who, like, I have an emerald coach go in and speak. I have a ruby or a newer diamond go in and just do a live video. It's all under 5 minutes. And then a star diamond, and then myself or one of my elite coaches or my premier coaches who have been around for a while. Then we go in. So people in these groups, they can take that fear factor out where, yeah, our stories might be super inspiring, but they can't really relate to us who are 4 years in, but they can hear the fears and the hesitations that maybe my brand new emerald coach had, but now she's having a lot of fun and all of that. So this is what we do. It's super simple. And then I'll show you what I did with the, here. I just use the photos section because, again, I'm visual too. So I do this, and then I just created an album, and I explain to all of them exactly how to go into the photo album section. I make a video, and I do like a little arrow, make a little collage, click here, click here, click here. But I just do glimpse into coaching, and then whenever they click on that, then they're going to see just in the description part, the basics. And it's not anything massive. That's about as long as it gets. That talks about our, you earn 25%, get 25% off. Misconceptions. I think I have 6 misconceptions over here. We're not pushy salesmen. Why do you want to work the business? So that's it. That's it. And that works. It's really working really, really well for me and my team.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask, when you have the coaches on your team, like the emeralds or the diamonds or the elites, when they go in there and share, what do you have them talk about? Are they talking about struggles that they faced, how they overcame them, their story?
That's a good question. So I have them share their story, but I also have some key points, and I'll tell you here in just a second. Because sometimes, too, I'll add images of them, which I'll show you. And I got a lot of this info from Jen Richardson, so she helped me with kind of these ideas. But see, I'll do this one. My coach Angel, coaching for 2 months, started just for the discount. So she kind of has her little write-up. And then whenever they go in, I like to almost give them the visual for people who like to read, because some people won't watch the videos. So I kind of do both. And then I have them talk about their hesitations and fears, what made them decide that they were going to take the leap of coaching, what their experience has been so far, and what their vision is. So I'd have them talk about their vision for the next 2 to 3 years with their business. And I feel like it not only helps my coaches when they actually have to talk about that, but it also helps people who are considering it realize, oh, hey, this isn't just I'm going to try this out, or I'm going to get rich in 2 months. It's wait, these people are talking about 2 years in. Wait, this is a real thing. So that's been my mission, and that's been my turning point this year.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
All right.
That's it.
Sorry, I missed a little bit there. I had to run into Carl did a quick powwow with our team here. And so I had to run into that. Are there any other questions from you guys for Val?
No, that was awesome. Thank you, Val.
No, thank you guys for hopping on. You know, I think we all just kind of get caught up in our own head sometimes. And like I've told Craig and like I told on our Monday Mastermind, nothing special. There's nothing secret. I'm not reinventing the wheel at all. I just went back to positive mindset and the gratitude of this business. And the reality is I am as thankful for that first $40 paycheck that I got to the paycheck that I have now. So I can never complain because Beachbody, this coaching opportunity, has literally taken my family from $140,000 in debt to not knowing like what was going to happen, to debt freedom, to my husband being home with us, to my kids not having to, you know, want for a ballet lesson. If they decide they want to take it, like I get to provide that for them. And to me, like I'm just so beyond grateful. So it kind of gets under my skin sometimes if I mean, I get the loss of paycheck sometimes or whatever, but I think that there's a disconnect that most normal people aren't making $1 million a year. Like, so I'm going to be grateful for, you know, any amount of money that's coming in because of this opportunity. I'm sitting in my home office and I get to like eat lunch in my own refrigerator and take a nap if I want to during the day because of this, right? So I think that for me, that's the biggest disconnect that I have with coaches who are complaining or volume this and volume that, and this business isn't working anymore, and we're saturated. No, we're not. You're supposed to do the work. Like you have to have the passion behind the work, and the mindset has to be right because we are not entitled to anything at all. That's me on my high horse because I see it too often.
I like your high horse, Val. It is good
exactly. Stop bitching and put on your big girl pants. I like it, Jamie.
I like it. And, you know, and when you're 37 weeks pregnant, you can say whatever you want to say. So take advantage of it.
That's right.
All right. Well, Val, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on. Thank you to Amy and Jamie and Kristen for being here to ask some questions and keep the dialogue going. We'll get this recorded and hope everyone from our Tuesday group enjoys the recording. So thanks, you guys. Have a great, what day is it? Thursday. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.